how there's no more black success. And what I'm telling you is that a lot of people who come from these countries are wealthy. A lot of Nigerians I know who came here came from good families. They had maids. I want to talk to the maid. Like I'm the maid. I'm the maid. That's who I am in this country. I didn't have a maid or a butler. I come from maids and butlers. Okay? So for you to say that we're the same people because we got nappy hair and dark skin. I had people told me when Obama came along, well, Yvette, he's blacker than you. He's darker than you. So what you talking about? Wait a minute. You seeing us through the prism of complexion as opposed to the prism of lineage? That's the problem. Lineage matters more than everything. And I'm not saying that you can't do business with nobody. You can have other allies. But you have to look at people through the lens of lineage. What is your lineage? And I ask people all the time when they come to me and they say, but I don't know. I say, first of all, who you? Tell me about your people. Where you come from? I can trace mine to Georgia, Alabama. Where you come from? Where your people come from? Don't come to me just talking we all black. That's not the way politics work.
What attracted me to you was that you were conveying and articulating a message that is not a part of mainstream media. Even the black talking heads on MSNBC and CNN are not talking a race-centric message, the message that you're talking. But it is rooted in history. It is the message of they were race men and women from Ida B. Wells to Martin Luther King Jr. But we've moved towards this intersectionalism. You know, where are our leadership? Where's the leadership? Where are our advocates?
I think for the most part, I think we have some good leadership in terms of, I see some good activists in communities, some people like you who are doing good work in the community and trying, but what I'm telling you in terms of the national level, they're bought. Like they are bought. We have a billionaire class right now. People don't really understand Citizens United and what it did. It ushered in a billionaire class of politics. So you can't even make moves in politics in terms of money right now by being a millionaire. Millionaire is small potatoes. Peter Thiel, who you all know he's a billionaire, PayPal, all this success. And he said the reason he stood up for Hulk Hogan in terms of that Gawker media trial. And they said, why'd you do it? And he said, well, we all know he had an axe to grind, and that's the power of money. But he said, well, a single-digit millionaire has no rights in this country anymore. A single-digit millionaire cannot afford the justice system. So if you're going to tell me that a single-digit millionaire cannot afford the justice system, what does that say about us? And what does that say about your politicians and who's paying them? There was a great article in the Huffington Post. I'll have to find it and send it to you, which basically showed the Congressional Black Caucus going behind closed doors maneuvering for Wall Street. It's the same Wall Street that targeted us with subprime mortgages and took what little wealth we had a little bit of wealth, and you made sure you got it. And that's what capital does. And that's white capital is on the march, and white capital is taking everything, and they already got our politicians.
But don't you feel offended though? Don't you feel offended? You got a guy like Trump who says to black people, what do you have to lose? You're poor, your schools are poor, there's high unemployment in the community. What do you have to lose? I mean, black people are upset with that. Are we poor?
He right though. He's right though. Like listen, we handle that question all wrong. Listen, 7 out of 10, I want you to listen to this statistic. 7 out of 10 black people, black kids, born to a middle-class family will fall into the bottom quintile in their life. That means 7 out of 10 of these black kids who are born into good families will fall into poverty. So what do you mean? Yeah, he's right, we're poor. The thing that we should have said is, okay, Trump, you know what? You're right. And what are you going to do about it? Don't tell. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. The middle black family has $1,700 in wealth. The middle white family has $100,000 in wealth. And we save more and work harder. So you're right. Something's wrong. Nothing's wrong with us. Something's wrong with this country. And so what are you going to do about it? The reaction to Trump should not have been, well, you're wrong. We ain't poor. Because let me tell you, if I was a white white president, and black people said that, when you came asking me for something, I'd be like, what you here for? You told me you had it. You told me you was good. I mean, we can have a cup of coffee, but you told me you was good, so let's move on. We don't have to have this conversation. So you have to frame this in a way to where, yes, we're poor. Okay, now, what is your plan in terms of what you're going to do for Black America? What is your agenda for Black America? That is the question. The question is like it's like we have this self-esteem. I don't want to feel this kind of way. I don't want to feel like I'm poor. But the truth is that's the truth. And in a country that productivity used to be tied to how much you were financially compensated for your job. It's not tied to that anymore. And so what happens is we make up with that with credit. So we use credit to make up for what used to be and what should be wages instead of fighting actually for those wages and fighting capital to get our due. And so that's what has to happen. We have to fight to get our due instead of saying we're okay. Say, no, we're not okay. And who's going to do something about us being okay? Because the only way you get my vote is if you say you're going to do something. It's specific. Don't give me no, well, we're going to work with you. We're going to work hard. I've been there before, heard it, done it. I want to see what specifically is on your Black agenda. Do y'all know Barack Obama was the first president not to have a Black agenda? Every other, even white president, even Republicans had Black agendas. Even if they didn't do anything about it, do you know he's the first one not to? How can you represent me and not have a Black agenda? And so how you going to tell a white president now that you got to have a Black agenda? He going to tell you Barack Obama didn't have one. And what'd you do about it?
I want you to respond to a couple of videos. One is Johnson at your alma mater, this epic speech, just excerpts of it. Where he talks about Black poverty versus white poverty.
And we do know that we have to act. First, Negroes are trapped, as many whites are trapped, in inherited, gateless poverty. They lack training and skills. They are shut in slums without decent medical care. Private and public poverty combine to cripple their capacities. We are trying to attack these evils through my poverty program, through our education program, through our medical care and our other health programs, and a dozen more of the Great Society programs that are aimed at the root causes of this poverty. We will increase and we will accelerate and we will broaden this attack in years to come until this most enduring of foes finally yields to our unyielding will. There is a second cause, much more difficult to explain, more deeply grounded, more desperate in its force. And it is the devastating heritage of long years of slavery and a century of oppression and hatred and injustice. For Negro poverty is not white poverty. Many of its causes and many of its cures are the same, but there are differences. Deep, corrosive, obstinate differences, radiating painful roots into the community and into the family and the nature of the individual. These differences are not racial differences. They are solely and simply the consequence of ancient brutality, past injustice, and present prejudice.
Okay. All right. Stop. Okay. All right. Now, he's speaking to the structural and systemic and historic injustice at a historic Black college Howard, which is your alma mater, and the alma mater of William J. Simmons, our namesake. Another president spoke to at a historic black college, Morehouse. And this is what he said.
Just as Morehouse has taught you to expect more of yourselves, inspire those who look up to you to expect more of themselves. We know that too many young men in our community continue to make bad choices. And I have to say, growing up, I made quite a few myself. Sometimes I wrote off my own failings as just another example of the world trying to keep a black man down. I had a tendency sometimes to make excuses for me not doing the right thing. But one of the things that all of you have learned over the last 4 years is there's no longer any room for excuses. I understand there's a common fraternity creed here at Morehouse. Excuses are tools of the incompetent used to build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothingness. Well, we've got no time for excuses. Not because the bitter legacy of slavery and segregation have vanished entirely, they have not. Not because racism and discrimination no longer exist. We know those are still out there. It's just that in today's hyper-connected, hyper-competitive world with millions of young people from China and India and Brazil, many of whom started with a whole lot less than all of you did, all of them entering the global workforce alongside you, nobody is going to give you anything that you have not earned. Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered some discrimination. And moreover, you have to remember that whatever you've gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships previous generations endured, and they overcame them. And if they overcame them, you can overcome them too.
Okay, stop. So we have overcome.
But he said they overcame. They overcame it with government, and that's what you are. You're the president. They didn't overcome it by themselves, and we still haven't overcome. But the stuff that they did get, the gains that they did get, they got those gains because LBJ said what he said and did what he did. Yeah. This man came to power. Like, I can't tell you how offended I was when I watched this video the first time. I watched it live because somebody told me he's giving a speech right now. Turn over. I turned over live and watched this man say something in front of black kids he would never say in front of white kids. You have never seen Obama go to...
Or gays.
Or gays or anybody. Yeah. He would never. You have never seen the Jewish community. He would never go into Stanford, never go to Harvard and tell them what they don't deserve and what they're not entitled to. Especially since what they're going through is a systemic failure. Listen, those incarceration numbers, and when we look at the number of black people who are in poverty, and we look at black women in eviction and stuff like that, when we look at all those numbers, you don't get numbers that big with an individual failure. Those numbers get to be that big because of a systemic failure. That's a systemic failure. And Barack Obama wanted to be the black daddy of black men. That's not your role. That was never his role. His role was political. You were the president of the United States. And what you did when you showed up to Morehouse is tell a lot of black men who achieved beyond the odds to get a college education. You told them what the government wasn't going to do, instead of what the government was going to do to make sure that you're treated fairly. What is the government going to do to make sure that you can get a job as a Morehouse grad? We see that black people who go to school and get a graduation, get a degree, don't even have the same odds as a white person who didn't get a degree. Instead of telling me, Mr. Obama, what you're not going to do, how don't you tell me what you are going to do to make sure that we're treated fairly by employers? Instead of telling me what you're not going to do and not going to see in terms of excuses, why don't you commend me for how I got here against the odds to be standing here in the rain at a college? Why don't you do that? And you know why he can't do that? Because he's not anchored in our history. He doesn't understand that. I have said, I'm sure most everybody in this room, you sat beside old black people listening to them. You know, I had a great aunt just passed. She was 93. The last time I visited her, she was talking about how the KKK used to ride down the street and set stuff on fire. So I understand that from an experiential point because that's who my ancestors were. If I was growing up with a white mother in Indonesia, maybe things would have been different. I may not have understood. But what he did was basically tell a bunch of black people what government is not going to do for you. But compare that to LBJ. LBJ said Negro poverty is different than white poverty. That is true. We live in more concentrated poverty areas. We have food deserts. It's different. And the second difference is our whole race is flat. Like there's a great graph if you've ever seen my YouTube show that shows that our race is flat in terms of economics. You see at the end of that chart that has all the races, the Latinos are ebbing up. Ask yourself, how does a community of immigrants just got here do better than people who've been here 400 years?
Just 65.
Yeah. How do you get that? The only way you get that is if one group has become part of an underclass. And the only way that we get out of this is by government saying, listen, you have to give these people contracts. You have to hire them. You see the SBA, I talked a lot about this, the SBA loans the government gives out. Under Barack Obama, black companies got 1% of those loans. How do you build any kind of black business without black politics? You can't do it. You can't address any of that stuff that LBJ said. And the thing is that LBJ said, the reason he was telling people about this, he was not saying this because he thought this was a handout. He understood that we've been robbed. You're not getting a handout when somebody gives you that back. Like it's like imagine yourself running down the street and somebody snatches your pocketbook or wallet, right? And then you catch up to them and you say, give me my stuff back. And they say, what you want a handout for? No, that's my stuff. You took it. That's my stuff. And so, you know what?
It's our stuff. It's our stuff.
It's our stuff. I mean, during people don't understand that during these periods, we talk about Reconstruction, we can talk about slavery. The most important part is that there were no rights that black people had that any white person was bound to respect.
That's what Taney said.
What you have when you read that Ta-Nehisi Coates piece about reparations, people just come on our land and take it. People just say, I want that mule. It's going to be my mule now. And so that was all taken from us. When you talk about Black Wall Street, I don't like you having this. There's a great book of 1919 which talks about how black people had to take up arms and get guns to try to protect themselves, and they still couldn't do it because these white people got more guns and more arms. But now you're telling me that I should be asking for a handout? This is my stuff. And that's what we have to keep saying, because they love to tell you don't ask for a handout. What are you asking for a handout for? You took this from me. I want it back. And the only way you make me whole is through economics. You don't make me whole by saying, well, white people have better attitudes. I don't care about your attitude. Where's my money?
One last question that we'll open it up. You mentioned yesterday several things that should be a part of a black agenda. What are some of those things? And help also explain how politics is about quid pro quo.
Well, one of the things, and I'll just bring this up since we were talking about it backstage, and I said, one of the ways that rich white people are kept wealthy is through contracts. And now all of those contracts are contracts, that they came up with. A lot of these contracts are government contracts. There should be a minimum number in terms of percentage of contracts that should be allotted to African-American businesses. And I'm not talking about an African-American business with one black person at the head. I'm talking about audit this company. Is this company a true African-American business? And people say, well, Yvette, what can we do? And I was saying backstage, let's talk about the fact that we got a lot of black men that cut hair. Like, why can't we have black companies that provide, when you go into the military, the Marine Corps, Air Force, that provide the haircuts? That's right. That's money that you can count on, because the government's going to always be the government. It's the richest government, and we're talking trillions of dollars. So, first thing I want to talk about is contract. The second thing I would talk about, too, is loans. When you have a quota the same way in terms of SBA loans, business loans, how do we get 1%? And people say, well, maybe we don't know. We might not know what we're doing. We come from slaves. I understand that. White people get to mess up all the time, and they don't even come from slaves. They say, well, that's part of learning business. You fail and you make mistakes. I don't have the money to make a mistake. Give me the money to make a mistake and start over and be like, well, Pastor, I tried, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to redo my business plan. I I don't, people say we need black people to be successful. I need the opportunity to fail and not be on the street. That's what I need. Okay, and that's what black people need. The third thing I talk about, you can't talk about black people and black community without talking about 10,000 per 100,000 black men in cages. You can't talk about that.
Cages.
Cages. Don't talk about jail. These are cages. These are cages. People, you know, we'll put up the ASPCA commercials about animals and look at how they're being kept in these humane society cages, but nobody cares. You know, that you have black men and some women who are being kept in these cages. There's no way to talk about this without talking about mass incarceration. And why? Why? Don't talk about what black people are doing to go to prison. Talk to me about what white people are punishing. Okay? And why they're punishing those things. Talk about broken windows where you just get to show up. You know, and I see this, and I see you here, and I see you got loose cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. Talk to me why this person on the corner selling loose cigarettes. Eric Garner was a big man. I mean, I'm sure if he had worked and you had given him opportunity for a well-paying manufacturing job at a company, he probably would have took it. Talk to me about the opportunity. Talk to me about the fact that these manufacturing jobs left urban centers to flee black people and went to suburbia and left us in urban America with nothing. So we have to talk, I mean, those are my 3 top things. We have to talk about health care. Why is there no subsidy for me to have insurance? I'm a fan of single payer. But if you're going to have payer, why is there no subsidy for black people? When you think about the fact there's some very good studies now which are indicating that our genetics was actually affected by slavery. That genes aren't static, they turn off, they turn on, they turn off. So maybe you have high blood pressure because of what your ancestors experienced. Not only in the Middle Passage, but the fear and all that stuff. Maybe that's what geneticists are investigating right now. And none of us are talking about how that fits into, which is number 4, like how that fits into reparations. We talk about black farmers lost all their land, but nobody wants to talk to me about, okay, they got a deal, but how was the community as a whole affected by them not having land? And how do you get that land back in the hand? We have less than 1% of like rural land. We have nothing to grow anything on. And there's not a whole lot of land for sale right now. So how do you give me that back? You can't give me that back without reparations. You cannot make me whole without recompense. And that's reparations. That's money.
What about HBCUs like Simmons?
Excuse me.
I have nobody, nobody's ever been able to explain to me why HBCUs aren't free. And we're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar budget. I'm not talking about a student loan. Why should a child who comes from slaves be burdened by student loans? You already took my stuff and now I'm going to be in debt. You already took my stuff, now I'm going to be in debt. Why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't you finance that? You women, you can finance all of this other stuff. You can bail out the banks. You can get in the military billions of dollars that make other people billions of dollars. You can lose a whole bunch of money in Iraq. But you can't pay for HBCUs so the kids who were descendants of slaves can go to college for free? Why?
Amen. We're now open for questions. Let's give her a hand. President of Black America. All right, make your questions succinct and brief. Yes, go ahead. In fact, okay?
Real quick, do you think we've come as far as we're going to go as African Americans, and what is the biggest obstacle that's keeping us from uniting, galvanizing, and doing more?
To answer your first question, I think and this will answer your second question too, how far we go in terms of black people will be determined by black politics. What we have to do, and I say this to people all the time, people talking about black business. Black business is fine, but black business isn't anything without black politics. And what we have begun to believe as a people is that we can do it all by ourselves. I can be an individual, right? I can be an individual, and I got mine, so you got to get yours. We are going to have to go back to a time where we do stuff collectively. There is no mine. There is only we. And there is only how we work together to get these politicians. And I know that's a long play. Especially we got a Republican, we got people who are talking about turning the clock back. I understand all of that, but I don't get involved in ideology. I just get involved in where's the money and what pocket is that money going into. That to me just kind of puts it all in place. I don't want to talk about ideology. I don't want to talk about, well, I'm a leftist, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Listen, it's money going into black pockets. And not just black individual pockets, because you don't get anywhere through being individual. Like we look at Magic Johnson, or we look at Michael Jordan. You're talking about individual millionaires, singular individual millionaires. Communities are not built with singular individual millionaires. Communities are built when everybody got something. I don't want to be the one that got away. I want to be the one who's part of a community who gets their due.
So, question. My name's Gillian C. I'm a descendant of African American slaves. When you know who we were. My family came to Kentucky with the Speed family, and my family built what was known as Louisville Seminary, now University of Louisville. And so I asked the question, I say that to ask the question. We started out talking about immigrants, and much of what you say reminds me of Dr. Claude Anderson. And he coined a phrase called non-immigrant Americans. He says that's who we are. And he spoke of it for many years, but he said he couldn't gain any traction. So in all that you said, I'm hearing you say this. So you think this is something we should pursue instead of black people, Negroes, the other N-word, and people of color, non-immigrant Americans?
Well, I thank you. I think part of the reason that it doesn't get any traction is I think the Democratic Party has done a very good job at paying off groups of people to vote for them, but they're paying them off with stuff that's supposed to be for us. So you heard LBJ say this affirmative action is for you.
Now, he wasn't talking about multicultural.
No, he wasn't talking about multiculturalism. He wasn't talking about what Barack Obama was talking about. Barack Obama was talking about multiculturalism. Right. He said, no, you people, you African-American people who are descendants of slaves, this is for you. He said that. And why do you think he gave that speech at Howard University? Because he was saying this is for you. So I think what the Democratic Party has done, they've told us that these bad Republicans are going to take over. If we start to see ourselves as an independent group, we have to get together with other people of color and elect Democrats. But nobody ever talks about what the Democrats are supposed to do once they've been elected. We just say we have to do what's in the best interest of all people. Well, the thing about it is nobody else thinks that way. There's no group who comes to fruition and says, I want to do what's best for everybody. Everybody understands that my group is priority. Doesn't mean I don't stand with other people. Or I can't have other coalitions with poor white people. I can't have other coalitions with anybody. And when you talk about poor white people, the thing about white people in terms of numbers is that they have a true group, which means that they have classes. They have a super rich, 1%. They have rich, they have wealthy, upper middle class, lower middle class, and poor people. We don't have levels. We have a flat race where most of us on the bottom, and the 0.01% is Oprah Winfrey and Magic Johnson. And when you look at data, when you look at how you count data, they don't even matter. You cut off the top 5 and the bottom 5 in data. So they don't even matter in terms of community. But to your question, I think that the Democratic Party has lulled us into believing that in order for us to keep out racists, we have to somehow become part of this panacea of just people who have nappy hair or picnic, and we're all the same. And I think you have to talk to people about the claim, not the fact that we think we're better than you. You know, I heard other people. You bet you think you're. You know, it's funny how many friends I lost who were black, who were either Latinos or they were black, who were like, well, the minute I cart myself off and say, well, this is for African Americans. I didn't know you was xenophobic. You hate immigrants. No, I don't. I'm just saying that this thing right here is for us. The minute you say that, though, everything falls apart. But when everything falls apart, it means it was built on sand anyway. It was built on you climbing up on my back. And I'm not going to do that on you.
Climbing up on your back.
Climbing up on my back. You taking something that was designed for me, you take it for yourself, and all the while you say, you my brother, you my sister, and you take it and you move up, and I'm still here. And I'm not supposed to change anything about my thing.
Okay. Oh my God. My question is, I am a descendant of American slave. I've been claiming it now for 15 years. So my question is, and I've been working towards this, and I need to hear you articulate this question, okay? We found out through my organization, Descendant of American Slave Inc., is that humanity is what this country robbed from our demographics of people by making us 3/5 a people based on color. So we've decided that 1776 needs to be addressed through the Declaration of Independence because it has never been addressed about our humanity. When we get our humanity right, then we get our culture right, and we name ourselves as the citizens of America. So my question is, are we not descendants of American slaves? Did this country create American slaves, yes or no?
We are descendants of American slaves. Chattel slaves, that's who we are. And I want people to push back against one thing. A lot of people say this is another con. There are a lot of cons that get played on us. One of the cons is, well, slavery was over a long time ago. Right. Let me tell you something. If you get a chance, you ain't got to read the book. Go to YouTube and there's a video called Slavery by Another Name. Right. Peonage slavery lasted until the 1940s. Right. The 1940s, you had no control over your body. So women had their sons and stuff just disappeared. Husbands just disappeared. They making them work. They making them work for corporations that are making big money. These money is still around today. But nobody ever paid that money back. Okay? So you think 1941 to 2017. That's no time. And you have people who are telling you that this should be over with. We shouldn't talk about this anymore. No, we should ramp up this conversation. You're flooding in with immigrants. You got lawsuits. You got lawsuits right now in Illinois. You have lawsuits in the South. There's a temp agency, and black people are suing, saying that these temp agencies prefer Latinos. They don't call me back. I go in there with a bunch of Latinos and I don't get hired. But nobody wants to talk about that. And even in the top, so you have the Ivy League, who will be replaced a lot by black immigrants, and you at the bottom will be replaced by immigrants. So when are you gonna fit in? This country you built, and there's no space for you? No, something's got to give.
Couple more questions.
I agree with you on the issue of the claim. I think that we are unique people. And I just recently had an airplane trip where I damaged some luggage. And when I submitted that claim to the United Airlines, they gave me a claim number. And I think that we as descendants of African slaves, of American slavery, we should be given a claim number, or in effect submit an invoice with an invoice number seeking payment for what is due for the labor that we've rendered. What do you say about how we should go about creating this claim number to advance this claim that's due us?
Well, you know, I don't agree with anybody all the time. I agree with Ta-Nehisi Coates, sometimes of the Atlantic, you all know what I'm talking about. But the reparations piece he did was really good. And I think that, and there's a bill in Congress right now to study. Just study. Nobody's asking you to do anything. Just study reparations. And we can't get people, you can't get people to pass that bill. If I'm in a state where this person, you're not gonna get my vote. I don't care who you are. You don't even want this bill to pass, but we can study what we're owed. We can't even study the claim because the government's gonna give us that due if it's time to get due. But the government is saying, I don't even want to study. And they don't study it because they know what that number's gonna look like. That's like that airline throwing away your ticket because you had a lot of expensive stuff in the suitcase. Right? And so we have to push people. You have to at least push this bill when you study it. You gotta study it. Once we get that number, studying that, pass that bill, we can at least get that number. Getting that number is the first step because they don't want you to get that number because they don't want you to have the money that's associated with that number.
Yvette, it was one last question. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. Real quick, I just want to ask, we talked earlier about the planning stages and how we've always had plans with African Americans. Well, the presidents had plans with African Americans in America. And I kind of want to just kind of talk about, like, as far as planning, why is it, has it progressed, and why do we see ourselves keep reorganizing as a people?
Why do we see ourselves keep reorganizing as a people? I think because that's a hard question. But I think because we have a lot of people that run away. We have a lot of people who we build up as leaders, whether they be entertainers, whether they be politicians, and then when they get where they go, and they run away. And so then we start building a new leader. Well, you can't just keep building people. Eventually somebody's got to stick around and do the work. So we always building people. We stay building. Well, this didn't work out. We're going to do this new movement. This didn't work out. Well, he came there, he sold out. If he sold out, he got to go. But it's easier to build somebody else. So you can't live life building. This is like you're trying to build a house. And every time you build your house, somebody comes and say, well, that's a nice house, I got it, I'm gonna take it. When you gonna get to live in the house? So I think that's part of what we're experiencing is we get people, you get people who leverage everything that is black, even in terms of like, it's funny, we were talking about Antonio Moore. Antonio Moore does videos through Tone Talks, check that out too. I'm on Breaking Brown on YouTube.
Yes, I'm talking about
Tone Talk. So, but he had a great thing about how, what happened with Michael Jackson in terms of getting on MTV. There were a lot of people who were leveraging that and said, this is black and we're going to talk about how the fact you want to let a black person on MTV. But then you get to a space, I'm not trying to say anything, don't get on me too bad. But I'm just saying, like, Michael Jackson gets to a point where he's like making songs like it don't matter if you black or white and all that kind of stuff. We let people run away. You don't get to be built up by us, then go raceless all over a sudden. And then talk about how race don't matter all over a sudden.
How can we follow you? I listen to you every Monday night and every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, breakingbrown.com. Tell us what your personal goals are and how can we help advance you as you are advancing the descendants of American slaves.
Well, yeah, every Monday and Wednesday night I do a YouTube live show. Okay, Ivy Osei Frimpong, and Ivy has a Ghanaian father, but he's also like, I can tell you from being an immigrant how they try to clean your clock sometimes. He's very honest about, why his people came and all that kind of stuff. So we have very honest conversations. But if you go to YouTube and just type in Yvette Carnell or Breaking Brown, my YouTube channel comes up. It has about 20,000 subscribers. So, the first thing you can do is just, like that channel, subscribe to that YouTube channel, because that's where we are every Monday and Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The second thing I'm on Twitter, at Breaking Brown. Somehow I had another Twitter account, Yvette, but I got locked out. Couldn't want to let me back in. so that I'm on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, Yvette Carnell. I'm on Facebook as well. And breakingbrown.com. If you want to, I send out a newsletter every week. I send out a newsletter. And the newsletter, it costs $2 a month, 50 cents per newsletter, because I set my price point. That's another problem. People set their price point not for black people. Setting a large price point in a black community, you don't understand your community. So, so it's a news links that I think that are good for black people to have in terms of having these conversations. Because you got to come with your intellectual weaponry. You got to have an intellectual arsenal when you come up against these people. Your intellectual arsenal got to be right. So when you talk about what my plans are, I'm all about political education. Like I want to get my community to the point to where they can, when they not only are we pushing politicians to do what we got to do, but they understand why, because we have political education. We can out-debate anybody because we have the data. Because data matter, numbers matter. Don't come to me about no story. Don't come to me about no empty. Don't come moralize to me. Data matters. This is where we are. According to the data and according to the numbers, this is where we are. So I'm all about political education and bringing people information that they know. I want to build black media. Because when you talk about Ida B. Wells, she had black media.
Simmons.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Do we have Simmons? Look at what all this stuff went together to create Simmons. And then all these people here. We're on those shoulders. But the thing that the 1996 Telecom Act did is destroy black media. So we can't even get our stories out. We can't even get our information out. And that's what I'm about, building that. If I could have my brothers, I would have like some investigative reporters and people going out doing these stories. Like that's the end game for me, to have a real black media, bought, owned by black people.
And we can donate to.
Yeah, you go to breakingbrown.com, you can donate.
And your newsletter.
The newsletter is $2 a month. You can donate. The main page of Breaking Brown takes you to a link to subscribe to the newsletter. Once you go on to Breaking Brown, if you want to make a monthly donation, you can do that at the Breaking Brown homepage. You can also go to donatebrown.com. And if you want to be on my news list, just go to subscribetobrown.com, where I try to just keep a list of people. And sometimes I send messages out there because I don't ever know when Facebook. I've been banned from Facebook before. I don't know when Facebook gonna shut down. I don't know when YouTube gonna shut down. I like to have my people all in one place. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, Yvette Carnell. Let's give it to her. Come on. Don't forget to support Fredericks. Support the brothers in the hood. Let's keep them employed. Get your meal in Fredericks. So let's give it to her. Come on, let's give it.